This is your midweek message. I hope you're doing well. The other Sunday, Si mentioned from the front that gratitude is something that we need to practice. And I wonder, how are we getting on with practicing gratitude and what that looks like? In our life group recently, we came across an ancient Hebrew practice. It's an ancient Hebrew song called Dayanu, and the Jews sing it during a Passover meal, and it'll be happening next week. And it is, Dayanu means it would have been enough. It would have been enough. And so what they sing is, if he had rescued us from Egypt, but not punished the Egyptians, it would have been enough. Dayanu. They sing Dayanu, Dayanu. It would have been enough. If he had divided the Red Sea before us, but not supplied us in the desert for 40 years, it would have been enough. Rescue in it on its own would have been enough. Dayanu, Dayanu. We've started doing a little Dayanu prayer practice when we meet as a family before our 24-hour sort of Sabbath. And we light a candle and we go around the family and we ask, what's happened? What are you grateful for? And we do a little Dayanu. So what we do is one of the boys might say that they're like, I played football in the playground. That would have been enough. It would have been enough. I'm grateful for that. And yet I got to score a goal and it was the winning goal and we won the game. Do you see? So it would have been enough to wake up in a warm home under a duvet with the promise of warm or hot running water. That would have been enough. And yet he gives us banana pancakes for breakfast and maple syrup. It would have been enough. And yet it would have been enough to have a job. And yet I get to work in an amazing job that I love with colleagues who are my friends. But having a job, that would have been enough. Do you see what this does? Is it cultivates an attitude of gratitude in our hearts. If he had died for me and redeemed and restored my relationship, which he does on Easter, that would have been enough. And yet he fills us with the Holy Spirit to empower us to live a life, a Christ life. That would have been enough. So whatever our circumstances, whatever situation we're in, we can all practice Dayanu. We can all identify the gifts and the areas that we can be grateful for in our lives. So Dayanu, it would have been enough. It would have been enough to have internet access on a supercomputer device that I can put in my pocket. And yet, he gives us midweek messages to encourage us and remind us that we can be grateful in all things. So that's your midweek message, Dayanu. It would have been enough. I hope you can practice that over Easter, and we will see you perhaps over the weekend. Bye.